These are the assembly instructions for my heart-shaped box. The pieces for the top and for the bottom of my box are identical. The only difference between them is that the pieces for the top are bigger than the pieces for the bottom. So I'm going to start with my lid. The two hard pieces for my lid are not the same size. One of them is slightly smaller than the other one, and that's the one I'm going to be working with at first. And then I have these two plain narrow strips. I'm putting these aside for now. And then I have two narrow strips with these tabs at the bottom. So I'm folding down on the score line. So there's the long score line, and then there's all these little tabs. I'm just folding down on all of them. Then I'm folding down on the score line that's at the top. And what I like to do is lay my piece flat on my mat. And I'm just running my bone folder along the edge where I've folded down all those tabs. So just to smooth out the edge where I've folded them down. So I'm doing that with the second piece as well. I'm folding down on the score line, the tab that's at the bottom of it, and then all along those little tabs. I'm going in again and smoothing out the edge. So I'm just putting glue on the tab that's at the end. So both of the long tabs are towards me and side by side, and I'm just gluing them together right at that side tab. So next I'm folding my piece upwards so that those tabs are on my craft mat. I'm just putting glue all along one tab on one side. So now I'm going to take my heart-shaped piece. Now remember, this is the smaller of the two lid pieces. So the point of my heart, right at that join between my two strips, it's following along the edge like so. So the point of my heart has to be right at the score line of my tab. And then I'm going to do that on the other side as well. So I'm just putting glue all over that tab. I'm just sneaking it under and positioning the edge of my heart piece right at the score line. So now I have the tab that's at the top, and I'm just putting glue all over it. I'm positioning the end of this piece right along the score line of my tab, like so. The score line for my tab is here, and there's two tabs directly below. I'm just putting glue all over those tabs. And then I'm placing my piece. Those tabs are right at the V of my heart. The score line is right where those two tabs meet. So I'm flipping my heart piece over, and I'm putting glue all over those tabs. So from the score line to the edge of those tabs on both sides of my heart. I'm folding them inwards like so. And then there's a little bit of a border, and you want it to follow it evenly. The cutout for your heart follows the score line of those tabs evenly, like so. I'm applying a little bit of pressure, making sure that that glue takes. So this is the top. I'm just putting glue all over the underside of the larger heart piece and just gluing it to the top of my box, making sure that it's following the edge of my box nicely. And then I have these two strips, and these two strips are basically just there to reinforce the sides, just to make my box a little sturdier, and I'm putting them on the inside of my box. So I'm covering the underside in glue. I'm placing one of my strips so that it is right at the bottom of my heart. It just follows along the bottom. And then I'm going in with my bone folder and just spreading that glue. And be careful not to flatten out your curves as you're doing that. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side as well. And then I have my bottom pieces. My bottom goes together pretty much the same way. And again, you want to take note of which one is the smaller and which one is the larger of your heart pieces. So this is the smallest one, so it's going to be the one I'll work with to assemble. Folding down on the score lines for the walls of my box, smoothing out the edges. So with those long bottom tabs side by side, I'm putting glue on the side tab, so from the score line to the edge, and then just gluing my two strips together. and then just putting glue on one of those long tabs, gluing my heart piece so that my point is exactly at the score line between my two strips. And I'm putting glue on the other one and gluing it into place. So my tab is on my right hand side again. I'm putting glue from the score line to the edge on the side tab and gluing it to my left side. So on that join that I've just created, the score line on the tab is exactly at that V on my heart. I'm going to put glue on the tabs that are right at the base of the join, placing it so that my score line is right at the V. Those two tabs are just stuck at the back, like so. And I'm flipping my piece over and putting glue all over those tabs and then laying them flat. And then I'm guiding my wall so that there's an even border around my base. There's a tiny little border between my heart and the wall, and you want to make sure that it's as even as possible. So on the first one, I glued them all at once. On the second one, I did it in 2 steps, but either way works. Once you have that center secure, it really helps position the rest of your tabs. So I have my larger heart, which I'm just going to glue to the bottom of my box, covering the underside in glue and just gluing it to the bottom of my box. And I'm just adding those reinforcement pieces to the side, just like I did with the lid. And so then I have the layered mandala for the top. So normally for these layered images, the less that's cut away, the lower it is on your stack. So I have my poster board layer, and then I have my black 80-pound cardstock, and then I used some foil craft board, and then I used glitter cardstock for the top. I always prefer to put glitter on the top because things don't adhere to glitter very well. So this can be done in many different types of materials. I use these for the look I was going for. You could do each layer in cardstock or anything else that you prefer. So I'm just going to glue them all together, and then I'm going to adhere them to the top of my box. Now that my bottom and my top are complete, I just put the lid on the box, and I have my heart-shaped Valentine's Day box.